Hello, welcome to Irish Football Fan TV. This is the player ratings from Bulgaria 1, Republic of Ireland 1. Stephen Kenny's first game, UEFA Nations League, our first game of the group. You know, this is a game where we didn't know what really was going to happen, and I've just done an after-match reaction. You can go check that out after this game, and I kind of went into detail about the game. But overall, I don't think anyone had a really bad game. I think everyone played well, and I think it was a very pre-season-like performance. I feel as though we're going to get much better, and it's obviously the first game. Obviously, it's going to be a gradual process, but I thought everybody done well, mainly to their task, and people had glimpses. People were good overall, and people weren't. But this is just player ratings, and you can let me know your player ratings in the comments as well after this video, obviously. But I'm going to go Darren Randolph in goal. I'm going to give him a 6. I thought he was solid throughout, was commanding when he needed to be, and in my opinion couldn't really do anything for the goal. But you know, every time he was called upon, other than that, I felt as though he'd done everything in his power. I remember a free kick that came in, and he had to kind of get down, he had to hold on to it because their players were coming into the box to follow in on top of it as well. So he done what he normally does, and he's just usually solid. But yeah, that's I've gone with a 6 for Darren. Enda Stevens, I thought he had a really good first half. I thought up until the point where he got booked, he was bombing on. And then I think at that point then, after he got that yellow card, he was like, thinking, oh no, well I can't be caught up too far forward now, because if I have to get back and make a challenge, I might get a second yellow. I think that's how he was thinking, but I could be totally wrong. But he would have been trailing along a 7 at that point, and then kind of the overall performance kind of brought it back down to a 6. I didn't think he really done anything. No, he was good in possession, and you know, made tackles when he needed to, and got back a few times to kind of help our defence out. Obviously, he's part of the defence, but to get back and kind of cover at times, I thought he was really good. He was very energetic, considering I mentioned a lot of players who were looking like they're just on pre-season. So I thought Enda done okay, but he didn't have a whole lot to work with. I think Aaron Conley, when he was giving the ball to Aaron was very direct, and he was running up, so it didn't really leave Enda a lot to work alongside. But he's usually good in like partnerships, where he gets the ball, give, go, and he can get in then, but that wasn't the case. So I'm going to go with a 6. I think that's a fair assessment of Enda. Then I'm going to go, again, 6, John Eagan, beside Enda. I thought he won everything in the air, and he was commanding, and he like, John Eagan for me, he's always between a 6 and an 8, especially for Sheffield United. Now for Ireland, he hasn't played that much together, and he's playing with Duffy now, who originally was Duffy and Keogh for so long. But I think Duffy and Eagan is a really good partnership, and again, they're getting used to playing all this possession-based football with Ireland, something they're not really used to. And Egan's still kind of new into the team too, but I thought when called upon, bar their goal, I don't think it was his fault for the goal. I thought he done well in his certain positions and won the ball more often than not, especially in the air. He was very, very good in the air, and then on the ball, I thought he was really good. I think he had the most successful passes in the first half. I don't know how much you want to look into that. And then Shane Duffy, I had him at a 5 at the time of conceding the goal, and then I kind of bumped him up to a 6.5 for the goal. Didn't think he had his best game, obviously caught out on the ball. It's a new system, he's going to take time to get used to it. He tried to carry the ball out of the back as often as he could. He tried to kind of bring other players into play, and he did command the team well. I thought he organised players very well, but didn't organise himself very well for the goal, unfortunately. And yeah, it was such an easy goal to give away that it could have been easily avoided, if I'm being honest, and I felt as though he didn't. But I'm going to go 6.5. He gets the extra score because of obviously the goal. Captain for the night, but I just didn't think he had an amazing game. He wasn't shy, but he wasn't brilliant either. But look, he saved us with that goal, so that gets him up to 6.5 in my view. Then right back, I'm going to go Matt Doherty. I'm going to give him a 5.5. I didn't think he was great. I didn't think he had a lot to work with either. You look at kind of when he was trying to get forward and whatever, I just never thought he got the balls. Obviously he's playing with Ruben Neves at Wolves, and he's not going to get the same supply from Jeff Hendrick as Ruben Neves for balls kind of in over the top, cutting edge balls. So I just felt as though Matt was very limited in what he in what he could do in that aspect, because I just feel like when he does try to get in behind, no one sees that ball. For Wolves, they do see that ball, and he gets it, and he's direct, and he gets in. And yeah, look, he didn't do a whole lot wrong, but I just didn't think he was as effective. I felt as though Ender was more effective on the left, and that's why he just gets a bigger score than Matt. You may agree or disagree in the comments. That's fair. You can tell me. Then I'm moving into midfield, central defensive midfield, and I'm gonna go for a 5 for James McCarthy. I felt as though he had a very poor game. And I'm a huge fan of James McCarthy, and I'm the first one who'll want him in that team. But tonight he just didn't have a good game. Whether he was off the pace because he hadn't been playing regular football because of obviously the season just ended and now he's getting back. But I think he might be learning a new position under Stephen Kenny in terms of he has to get on the ball, receive it, and then make play. And he has to be the one penetrating the balls in behind. That's the only thing I can think of it, but he just didn't look good at it today. I think maybe Conor Howard might be better in that position doing it and spraying balls with his left foot over diagonal balls or bringing midfielders into it. But I didn't think that James McCarthy done that very well tonight, and I just felt as though he kind of went hiding when the centre halves were looking for the killer ball. We didn't have our defensive midfielder coming in and dropping in looking for the ball off him to feed. And I felt as though if he wants that position, he needs to do that. I felt Harry Arthur would have been the perfect person to do that. But look, it is what it is, so we won't get hung up on it. Hopefully now he can get back in for Finland and do well and show people what he can do. Conor Howard, I thought I gave him a 6. I didn't think he done anything spectacular. Done his job. Probably could have done a bit more killer balls, crossing. I felt as though he could have done a little bit more. But look, he didn't do anything bad either. So I think, yeah, well, I think he was still better than James McCarthy, but I don't think that would have been hard tonight. I think anyone would have been better than James tonight. Now, I'm not saying in general. But Conor Howard, you expect him to get on the ball, you expect him to make attacks. I don't know whether it was because our players weren't kind of getting in behind or whatever, but I just didn't think he was doing what he normally does for Villa. Again, is he off the pace? I don't know. It's such a hard thing to give these player ratings while you're kind of taking into consideration, are these players fatigued coming in off pre-season and they're coming into a full pelt competitive international fixture against Bulgaria. Jeff Hendrick thought he started off the first half really well. I was going to give him a 7 starting off in the first half, and then the second half he was like a 6, so kind of going to give that in between, a 6.5. I thought it was his best game for Ireland in a while. That's not saying much, but I thought it was his best game for Ireland in a while, and I think he'll only get better in the system, and I think it suits him a lot more. Ball on the deck, and you know, when the balls need to be hoofed, they will be, but more often than not, ball on the deck, and he seems to be just getting into terms with the team. But we looked tired towards the end, and I think I felt as though in the second half he definitely did tire with obvious reasons. So I mean, I can't say too much bad about him. I thought he was, you know, one of the best performances from him in a long time. Then up top, Adam Ida, I'm going to give him a 6. I didn't think he'd done anything really wrong. Didn't think he got the best of service. I don't think we got the ball up quick enough to the attackers. And that's kind of from the midfielders as well. So I think Adam Ida wasn't helped, but he didn't do himself any wrong. I think he had a solid shift, and he was no worse than any of our other strikers normally are. So I think he's put himself in a good position either way. I think you'll see the best of him after a couple of games with Norwich, and he comes back in maybe next month. I think you'll see a better player then. But I think at the moment, he looked a little bit sluggish tonight, and I'd like to see him in full pelt and see what he could do. So I've just given him a 6, and it's not to say he won't play against Finland and maybe get a 7 or something on Sunday, but I've gone with 6 for him. And then O'Dowda, first half I give him a 7, and then second half non-existent, I give him a 5. So I'll give him a 6 overall, because the two halves were night and day. I'm going to give him a 6. I thought he was really good in the first half. He was running at them, and you know, he put the fear of God in them when he was running at them and taking them on and stuff like that. But I just felt as though he just does he have limitations, or is he just tired? I don't know. the jury's still out for him, in my opinion. I know there's lads out there that think he's unbelievable. I'm still yet to see this unbelievable player. I want to see him. I want to see him do more, and I'm hoping that he can do more, like in the first half. But he needs to do it consistently and over a period of 90 minutes that shows, okay, this guy can be trusted to be a regular starter. Because for me, he wasn't really. And then I'm going to go with my last pick, Aaron Conley. For me, he gets a 7. I think he was a threat throughout. I talk about O'Dowda being non-existent. Conley was a threat throughout. He caused them constant hassles. He nearly scored, obviously, that goal in the first half where he pressed their defender, nuts them, and then got in and went to kind of similar finish, kind of his Burnley goal last time of the season for Brighton. So I think, yeah, he looks good, and I think he's going to be one that's going to do well for us in the future. And I'm hoping more and more that he gets involved and he stays injury free and he can get a few goals, because he looks young, hungry, and he looks deadly, to be honest. I mean, his pace is frightening, his hunger, his drive, everything about him. He just looks to me like the perfect player that we need, and we haven't had in a long time. It reminds me of Damien Duff in a way. That hunger on the ball, can go either way. You can go down the line or you can cut in. And more often than not, he was looking to cut in and create something. I felt as though at times he was getting frustrated because the ball wasn't coming to him enough. And I felt as though he had another chance as well, a volley as well. Adam Eagan played him in, kind of went behind him, whatever way the ball bounced. But he makes intelligent runs, and he's just a constant threat throughout for me. So he gets... probably out of the players who started, he's probably the pick of the bunch. And then the subs that came on, you had Robbie Brady come on for James McCarthy, and I felt as though when he came on, he started getting on the ball and he started trying to make things happen, which is what we were totally lacking. And then when we were kind of looking for someone to step up and get us that goal, you know, he wins the ball in the corner, the ricochet, then takes it down the line, whips in the ball, gets a corner, takes the corner and sets up big Shane Duffy for the equaliser. So for me, Robbie Brady gets a 7, and, you know, arguably the man of the match with Aaron Conley. So you can debate that one in the comments, or you might have someone else who was a man of the match. And then the two other subs, Robinson, I'm going to give a 5. I didn't think he'd done anything really effective when he came on. I think he needs to show more, taking wild shots, cutting in from the right on his left foot, or I don't know what foot it was, but it went miles over. Just silly things like that. Needs to start establishing himself as an Irish player, because he's done nothing of note other than scoring a friendly against New Zealand. You probably say the same about Sean Maguire. Sorry, Shane Long, when he done well, I thought he done decent. I give him a 6. Thought he done okay when he came on. Got amongst them, closed them down, got about the pitch. But it was just nice to see him back in an Ireland jersey and back playing and looking healthy and fit. So I was happy to just see him back on the pitch, and I've given him a 6. I thought he'd put himself a bit more than Robinson, but you might tell me differently in the comments. But that's been the player ratings. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to check out Gary's videos as well, my after-match reaction. And that's been my player ratings. Let us know your player ratings in the comments, and I'll speak to you all soon. Thanks for watching.